Attention, authors, promoters, even community organizers. In this interview, Asadah Kirkland from Chicago tells us how she put together this fabulous event. It's called the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. You might want to take notes. Stay tuned. Hey, it's time for TV Skywriter. Good evening, world, and welcome to TV Skywriter. I'm Pat Murray, your host. I'd like to introduce you to really cool people I think you should know. And today's guest is no exception. She's from Chicago, actually not from Chicago, but in Chicago. Ms. Asadah Kirkland. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you. I feel great being on. I appreciate it. Totally.
Absolutely. I saw you on Facebook. I saw that there was something called the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. And when I saw that it was in my old neighborhood, Woodlawn, I almost fainted. Tell us about that, because this is the second year, right?
Definitely the second year.
So let's promote it to death because it's happening this coming Sunday.
Sure. Well, the Soulful Chicago Book Fair is this wonderful event that evolved out of my mind. And it's sort of a compilation of a bunch of wonderfulness, a bunch of literary loveliness. And it takes place here in Chicago because that's where I live. That's where I'm going to live forever. And I just felt like I couldn't believe that Chicago didn't have a book fair of this magnitude for Black people. I'm from New York, and we have the Harlem Book Fair. We've had that since the 90s. And you're talking about Chicago's the home of what? Gwendolyn Brooks, Lorraine Hansberry, Richard Wright, Earl Father Hines, Margaret Walker, like all of these writers. And so they should be. Yeah, say it again. Who else?
Oscar Brown Jr., Sam Green.
That's right, Oscar Brown Jr. His daughter Maggie is my homegirl. So, all of these different composers, writers, this greatness, we should have something that commemorates that. And so my thing was not to go and try to find people who already have book fairs and say, could you have a Black version? Could you have a Black section? No, we need our own event. And so the Soulful Chicago Book Fair has evolved out of that need. And in addition, you can go to Barnes & Nobles and a bunch of places and you cannot find books for our people that reflect our culture. So my thing is we tell our own stories according to us for our own benefit and have a good old time. So that Soulful Chicago Book Fair is this Sunday. It's going to be on 61st Street between Cottage and King. And it starts off with a wonderful procession of elders. We asked the elders for their permission to begin. And so we have this float go down 61st Street with all these elder authors, and it's just amazing. And we have African drummers on there with them that are usually young boys. And
you know why I think that's beautiful? Because here in Durham, when we have African American or African themed events, the late Baba Chuck Davis used to have a procession of the elders with the African American dance ensemble. So, and he just died. So this is really beautiful to hear that you're doing the same thing. Wow.
Right. So you can tell it's just in our blood, you know what I'm saying? It's instinctual is what we do. We honor our elders. And so we start off with that sharp at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then the day begins and then entertainment starts at 11:30 and goes on. We have like 4 blocks of entertainment. 1 block is fiction writers, 1 block's nonfiction writers, 1 block is children's writers. And then we have 2 stages. We have 1 stage for open mic. We have another stage with Grammy level entertainment. And the key is to expose the world to artists they may not know of, but people who are writing their own songs and singing positively and saying things that we need to hear to rebuild our communities and to heal. So it's a big day of that.
I have to ask you this. Now, this is going to sound really ignorant, but I'm used to things starting small. I remember one day my sister and I were driving down 51st Street in Chicago, not too far from Woodlawn, and someone was putting on an event. They had extension cords coming out of their second floor apartment, going across the street to the park to their event. But we hollered. It was hilarious. But sometimes you do have to start small. But in your case, apparently you don't believe in that. And I'm wondering, how on earth did you coordinate such a huge event the first time last year? How did you do it?
It's so funny because I was actually told last year when I was asking someone to help me get the permit 2 block off the street, they brought me this permit that was like a 2-side, like a double page, 1-page thing. And I was like, what is this? And they were like, it's a permit. I figure you start small with your first year. You can do like this block. And I was like, this ain't no block party. What you talking about? I'm talking about a book festival. Like, so I don't, I'm a Scientologist. And one of the things we do, one of the ways that we think is whatever you want, you get. Whatever you say, you do. And so this thinking big, it needs to be as grand as I want it to be. And so the key is we actually have business systems in place to put that in place. So to get last year's event that big, I did what we call an administrative scale. I did what we call condition formulas. So I had actual things that I implemented to create the sort of the anatomy of the book fair. And then all you do is follow those scales, and then you get what you want. So
wow,
that's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do.
So did you work as a team, or was it just you? I mean, starting out.
Sure. Well, much of it was myself, but nothing can be done by yourself. You know, I did have people who helped me do things like market, hang up posters, put up tents. I mean, you talk about midnight. It was 4 Black women putting up tents and barricades.
Wow.
On the street, baby. The brothers that hang out late at night, they talking about, what y'all doing? I said, boy, you get over here, help me move this barricade. Playing. So I'm getting the brothers off the street, like, let's go. He's like, I had him walking 4 blocks. One brother talking about, I ain't never walked this far. I'm always in my car. I said, you walking in tonight, baby. I need the barricade or the Eberhard. So anyway, it was just one of those things where seeing it big, I know what as an author I would want as an author, and I am an author. So it was about creating this event that spoke to my needs as an author and then my needs as an organizer. I knew that I wanted our authors to have the best of treatment. You know, we always get like the literary corner. We'd be off in a corner somewhere while everybody else buying shea butter and earrings and stuff. No, this is an event where somebody just called me because she wanted to sell her toothpaste. And I was like, this is just an event for books and literary organizations. It's not for other products. So, you know, that's just the bottom line. We need to make literary life chic again. Just like we had a renaissance once before, we need to have another life where we embrace and celebrate us and our literary lives. And so that's what it does, pretty much, in our community. I'm not taking it to the Loop. I'm not taking it to the suburbs. It's right in our community because our people need to see more than police cars going down the street. Chicago's a beautiful place. And so this is about doing something that will uplift the community. If you do better things in the community, everybody will act better. This is how it goes.
And you're kind of lucky that Mayor Daley is no longer the mayor, because he used to, if somebody had a successful event, he would co-opt that thing and put his name on it and make it citywide, which actually wouldn't be horrible. But this sounds like something that really should be on the South Side.
Oh, definitely. I think it's one of those things where any and everybody, politicians, whoever, you know, they want to be in. First of all, people didn't think this was going to be as big as it was, because the way Chicago's wired, you get permission from people before you can do things. That's what people think anyway. And so if so-and-so's not involved, it doesn't get done. I'm not from here, so that makes it so that New York flavor was like, what? We just going to create this. But even, yeah, we're going to do it. And even bigger than that for me was, ain't none of y'all the creator. Ain't none of y'all God. So all that you talking about don't mean nothing to me, because this is a part of what God has me doing to build the community. So there will be no stops. There'll be no barriers. The stops and barriers that I see, I just knock them down with a little spiritual juice. And we just keep it going, you know what I'm saying? So it's really about infusing even some faith in our people that you can do as much as you want, as long as you want, for whatever you want to do it. Nobody's there to stop you as long as you really have some good faith. So I needed to do this in the Black community because what? I'm Black. What you talking about? I need to do this in a community where I live and play and work, and that's what we need to see that we can do. Good things don't just have to happen in other people's communities. It can happen in our communities, but we should be responsible for that. We get upset about gentrification, but all these years we've been sitting here not doing things. We need to get on the ball and make it so that we create what we want in our communities and don't let that fall short, and don't let other people take it from us. They take what we're not using. So let's get with it.
We do abandon things rather quickly. And we turn around and K-pop is taking all our bass lines, and we're like, "Well, wait a minute, what happened to?" Have you noticed, like on the radio, you don't really hear Black folks playing pop music? Now all the pop music is being played by, as far as I can tell, Koreans.
Well, you could trace all our music back and look at somebody who took it and did something else with it. And so the reason why they can take it is because we don't covet it, value.
We've abandoned melody.
We don't make like it's important. So, okay. So people assimilate it and do what they want to do. But it's all good. Our thing is to just continue to be inventive, continue to be creative. And then we can just keep this ball rolling. Nobody has to take. They can borrow it if they want to borrow it, but you always know the source, and it's nothing like the source. So that's what we have to.
You're right. That's true.
That's what we have to show.
Now we're talking about 4 city blocks from Cottage Grove to King Drive on 61st Street. It sounds like an awful lot of authors. It sounds extremely exciting, and I'm wondering how you identified which authors should participate, or if they broke your door down saying, "I've got to be in here."
It's so funny because when I look at how this all started and look at, when it actually became a thing, I visited the Printers Row Book Fair here in Chicago.
It's downtown for people.
Right downtown, so that's cool. You have all kind of, it's just a different kind of flow though. People are selling used books. There's some authors out there. There's a little menagerie of a lot of different things, right? And so, but the amount of Black authors there it just wasn't enough. It was like, what? Like I can count them on my 2 hands. And this is the
last time I went, which was probably back in the 80s, 90s.
Right.
I don't think there were any Black authors.
So all of that right there is why I said, okay, let me try something else. So what I did, I had actually have mailing lists with me, and every Black person I saw, I was like, hi, we're doing a Black book fair on the south side of Chicago called the Soulful Chicago Book Fair next year. And those people gave me their names, numbers, emails. I took home like 15 pages of Black folks information. And so that showed me, that's what we want. And so once I found out that that's what they want, that's part of when I said I did those conditions, those Scientology conditions. Part of what you do when you're working on like a non-existence condition, because you don't exist yet, is you find out what's needed and wanted. And so when I did that step and I saw what they needed and wanted. They wanted Black books. And I started with that, and I started to communicate through, newsletters and what have you. Next thing you know, authors, I built websites. So I had a website for the event, and I made it so that authors could sign up, and because we approve all of our books.
Oh, okay, good.
You can't buy it. You can just buy a table. We approve. You have to be approved. And once you are approved and you sent that email, then they can open up and go ahead and pay for the book. So it's a family fun event. We're not going to have offensive material there or anything like that. And the word just started getting out. I also started doing monthly events. And those monthly events, every month, more and more authors were coming to the table. And the word was out that, hey, Soulful Chicago Book Fair is coming up. They have a networking event happening called Black Authors Unite. Or, hey, Soulful Chicago Book Fair is coming up. They have an event called Microphone Check where you can do spoken word. So we just were doing these events on self-publishing. And next thing you know.
That's really good because you're staying in front of the public eye. I like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So we've become sort of this force of Black writers who support each other, who give each other resources. We had some people who didn't even have books. And by us working with them and helping them find the right resources for printing, editing, and all of that. But there were about 5 authors, I would say, before the event last year. They didn't have books. And by the event, they have books. So you're talking about 5 new authors. We even had an award ceremony for new authors of 2016. And so that was awesome. And so we just celebrate writers and anything Black and literary in this city. It's going on. And it's just great.
Let me ask you though, okay, this is the modern day where there's print on demand and self-publishing. Do you think more people are writing books because they can, because now there are ways, you no longer have to wait for Rand McNally to discover you? Do you think more people are writing books?
I don't necessarily know if more are. I think, I say this point about young people, because a lot of people say that young people, they don't write, they don't read like we used to, they don't whatever. I'm like, yo, young folks read and write more than us, more than we did, because they text and they post on social media. And so they're constantly composing. I just did a workshop recently where young people had to compose a short story from their phones, right? And to use the content of their phones. So my point is, yes, in today's world, we may write a little bit more because technology makes it so that we communicate through the written word. That's what we do, right? And so I think that if you had to compare to the past, in the past there was this literary sort of emergent of people taking the art and creating what they wanted to create. And now I feel like you can find us writing. We take it, put it like this: we're exposing ourselves more. We're taking onus of the process of becoming heard. I think a lot of people have written books over time, but they didn't have the money it would take at a time to go to a publisher and have them get paid and to pay. It used to take a lot to print a book, but now it doesn't take those same resources. It's a lot easier. You can write a book and make it. You can do a lot of things, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. So I think people don't feel like they have to ask permission the way they do, because there's so many ways that we do it, you know. So,
well, speaking of young folks, you know who the first people, I don't know if it was the first, but the first notable group of people that were self-publishing and doing print on demand. There was this genre of, it got really popular in the 90s and early 2000s. I forget what the exact term is. Basically, it's African-American street literature. And it's not smooth. I mean, it's raw. It's a lot of it's vulgar, but it's completely, I mean, it's real. It's from the streets. Some of these guys are writing books in prison, and in fact, one prison writer, rather one guy who's in prison who published a book, he sent it to me, and I put it in, reviewed it in my little newspaper, the Durham Skywriter, and I had no idea how popular these books are. I mean, young folks are definitely reading. They might not be reading Little House on the Prairie, but they're reading and writing books that pertain more to them. And I was shocked to know that this genre even existed. I can't think of the technical term, but it's like street level type.
Urban literature.
Yeah, urban literature or whatever.
They're calling it urban literature. Yeah, it's one of the urban literature. I absolutely don't have anything against whatever anybody wants to write, right? I just think it needs to be written well and in a way that people can read it and not have a bunch of mistakes. It's interesting. I have a brother who is an author for the book fair who he's written some urban lit, but he talked about how his first copy out had mad mistakes and stuff in it. And he said the community was like, man, I ain't reading that. It got mad mistakes, and the community held him accountable for what he did. So he had to go back and redo his work, so that it was palpable to our people, So I think that for those who
you start somewhere, then you get better, right?
You get better. And I think also what's important is that we have versions of all of our stories. So let's say in the book fair, everybody doesn't read urban lit because that's not everybody's story, right? Sure. And my thing is that as long as it's not offensive, like the title, the image, and all of that, they could be in the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. I don't think a lot of people, fiction writers, I think they may be afraid to come to the Soulful Chicago because we do that approval process. But if your cover and that title's good, you probably gonna pass. But if it's vulgar, honey, and this one lady legs spread out, that ain't gonna fly, baby. Ain't gonna go. Because I used to be a teacher, so I'm not gonna have a situation where a child is gonna have to ask a parent a question that is uncomfortable for the parent because they now gotta explain this book and why it's naked people on the front, So anyway, I think that there's a place.
I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having standards.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We have to have them as a people, and we're out here writing. It is a genre that is growing, this urban lit. But I think our people, as I can see with the book fair, they're just writing a lot of different things in this book fair, whether it be mysteries, novels. We got one brother who wrote a book called America with the 3 Ks in America, just all kinds of political. So the way that the event is done, so let's say you're in a nonfiction row, nonfiction will have a history section, nonfiction will have a politics section, nonfiction may have a health section. Same thing with children's, children's may have a self-esteem section and an education section. So we make it so that the consumer can find these things easily and make it so that I want people to connect and network. If they're all doing the same or they're doing similar topics, they need to connect and see how they can expand, what they do with them.
I think that is so clever. I've never been to a book fair that was coordinated the way you're doing it.
Thank you.
I really think that is super clever. It will also, like you said, it will encourage the writers to get together and meet each other.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, if there's a children's block, as you said, that there will be, the kids can safely wander around and buy all the books up on the block. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. We had to do it like that. And like I said, when I make decisions on the creation of this book fair, it's really about thinking through the eye of the organizer, but I also think through the eye of the author. And I think through the eye of the consumer, because I could be made up of all of those. I am all of those. And so what do we want to experience individually as a group? And that's how I pretty much come up with these ideas. And it's spreading. I mean, we have authors literally that are flying in from Michigan or coming in from Michigan, flying in from the East Coast, New Jersey, Florida, Texas, California. I mean, one of the sisters from California, she's an author. She has a book. Her name is Joy Elon. She's an author. She's a poet, and she'll be performing, and she's hearing impaired. So it's like, it's just all kind of stuff. There's another spoken word artist flying in from Atlanta. She'll be performing. Her name is Jasmine Duffy, and she's a sight challenge. So, we just rock out. We do it all. As long as you want to use the word to spread your ideas, then let's go.
Okay, now you're thinking big, but here's the thing. If you've got people flying in, this is only the second annual
I know, right?
Chicago Book Fair. What do you envision for 5 years from now? How big do you think this is going to get?
Well, let me tell you, I have already had people from other states, of course, ask me to help them do the book fair in their state. But I even had a brother from Soweto ask me to bring the book fair to South Africa. Yeah. And I said, I'll do the Soulful Soweto book fair. Please don't play with me. I will do that. But so I don't know. Yeah, the Soulful. And when I told some of the authors about the Soulful Soweto, they were like, I'm going. I didn't even know that was going to happen. So that'll be an interesting thing to
have some Kwaito artists playing. That would be awesome. Man. Speaking of music, tell us about the performances. Do you have the list of artists with you? Do you happen to have?
Sure. So the artists are going to be Slam, Slam, Slam. I like to bring in artists that are not conventional because I want the community to get an idea of some of what artists that create songs that breathe life into you. So the headliners for this year is these three sisters called King. If you don't know them, you better YouTube them, baby.
I will.
King. And listen to their voices. They're awesome. So we're going to have them singing those melodies on 61st Street. And then we have this brother named Yao, Y-A-W. Oh, gosh, he's from Ghana. Slammed out, girl, when you hear this brother sing. Oh, Lord. Then we have another sister named Ugochi. And Ugochi, she's Nigerian. That sister brings the flavor. She does like an Afro soul. Then we have a house DJ named Dwayne Powell, who I love with all my heart. He does his soulful house. It's like and sometimes he can do Brazilian house. So we're going to have him. And then we're going to have on our smaller stage, spoken word. We're going to have this little sister named Peyton. She's 6 years old. She does a poem called, she's 6. And she does this poem. You can YouTube her too, Peyton. That's P-E'-T-E-H-N. She was on Steve Harvey's show.
Wait, spell it again.
Sure, P-E'-T-E-H-N. Her name is Peyton. And so Peyton's been on Steve Harvey. She's gone viral. This girl says this poem, Hey Black Child. Initially, folks thought that the poem was by Maya Angelou or County Cullen. It turns out that poem, Hey Black Child, was written by a Chicagoan. His name is Eugene Perkins, and he lives right on 67th. He lives on 67th, right near Jeffrey. So it was great for her to be able to give that type of accolade to him on the Steve Harvey show. But then also, they never met. And so they met for the first time at the Soulful Chicago Kwanzaa Book Fair, which was awesome. So that was great. So yeah, that's some of the lineup. And I mean, it's just going to be great. Oh, we have a dance troupe called Dance Esteem. They're going to be dancing. Another group called Chase. Oh, and we got another group called Funkadesi. They're like,
I know them.
Yeah, Bali funk. So that's like Indian and like reggae mixed up. Oh, it's kind of dope. So it's going to be a great lineup. And for, like I said, for me, it's all about artists who sing positive songs, who write lyrics that our people can grow from and feel good about, and featuring those artists. So that's what we're going to see that day. Oh my God.
What about food?
Well, I got to think about this one other person. This is the woman, Camille Yarborough. Oh my God. In New York, somebody called her the high priestess of the word. This sister has done a book. I know she's done this book called Cornrows, this book called the Shimmer Shine Queens, but she's going to be performing also, bringing that. She like, as an elder, she like in her 80s rocking out. So she's going to come and do that thing. So we got the generations just really coming to the table and performing. And then in terms of food, we actually partnered with the Woodlawn Food Truck Festival. And with the Woodlawn
Food Truck Festival, oh my God.
So when this sister wanted to create this Woodlawn Food Truck Festival, and went to the alderman, and the alderman said, you need to partner with the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. For me, that was great, because that means that's that person focusing on that area. And so I know we'll have everything from Cajun food. I think I might have saw Harold's, which you know how people love some Harold's.
I have some Harold's chicken.
That's what they want, right? So then they have, there's a company called Herbie Pop, and they make like this herb flavored popcorn. They'll be there. Another sister that makes cupcakes. There'll be another sister who has she has kale and vegetable tacos that taste amazing. So it's just a lot of different things. When you taste those kale tacos, you don't even want to know what's going on. They are amazing. So we have a lot of variety of foods, and the Woodlawn Food Truck Festival has handled that component. So it's going to be great.
So again, this is going to be, this sounds so exciting. I know people are like, oh my God, when is this happening? This coming Sunday, the 16th, right? From 10
July
until 8 at night, right?
Exactly. 10 in the morning, 8 at night, 10 a.m. starts that elder procession. And I'm telling you, people were floored by it last year, because it made you cry for real, because it was like, wow, you get to see these elders, and they felt so good, and they were dancing to the drums and waving on the float is gorgeous. When you see the float, it's like a real deal, beautiful, glistening float. And from beginning to end, it's just going to be really good.
Wow. So how are you promoting this?
Thank goodness for social media. Social media makes it so that you're calling me right now.
Well, that's how I heard about it, right? Facebook.
Exactly. So social media, I got a call from Las Vegas yesterday or the day before. This brother, he was giving me accolades, telling me I was a genius. This is wonderful. Our people need this. And I'm like, how did you even find out about the book fair? And he said, I read about it in the final call. So we apparently were in 2 weeks worth of the final call. We were in the Chicago Tribune this past week. DNA Info, which is another newspaper out here, we're in that. And so it's just, we've just been really blessed with like radio spots, and I have my own radio show. So I have on Tuesday mornings, I have a radio show that is named after last year's theme, which was Gathering of the Griots. And so on Tuesday mornings from 7 to 9, I have a radio show that airs internationally because it's internet-based. And Gathering of the Griots is a blog talk show. So Gathering of the Griots brings people on from the Soulful Chicago, all kind of authors, all kind of genres. Tomorrow, people will be calling in, telling how they feel about the coming of the book fair. But then we're also going to interview Camille Yarborough at the second half of the show. It's a 2-hour show. So that way, we've been promoting the book fair as well.
That is really wonderful. Oh, one more thing. You are still raising funds, because after all, it takes money to put something like this on.
Yeah.
And let's not be embarrassed. If you have the GoFundMe campaign, then go ahead and promote that, please.
Oh, no doubt. You guys, my thing, this is a labor of love for me, so I'm going to create an event that everybody loves. But the reality is that even today, I'm paying bills for the event because I want you to come and have a really good time. And so while I don't have thousands and millions of dollars yet from all my lovely endeavors in life, this is a grassroots endeavor. We don't have big sponsors for this. And so the community, I made something called the 2020 Vision Program. And so basically it's like, do you have 2020 vision? And they're like, what? And I'm like, that means that you just give $20 if you got the vision for the book fair. Oh, and so you can go straight on our website, soulfulchicagobookfair.com. As soon as you pull it up, you're going to see make a donation, and it goes right to that right to that campaign, the 2020 campaign. And so we're still, I said, if I got 5,000 friends on Facebook, at least 2,000 of them can give me $20. Come on, y'all. And that'll help. That'll help me deal with this book fair. So if you anything, we will accept any donation, but $20 or more can really help us just not have to be as stressed as we were last year trying to make this happen. So yeah, let's do this thing. We don't have to get permission from others to make it happen. We can actually make it happen by just changing our value system and putting our money into something that is valuable for the community.
Wonderful. I want you to tell us one more thing. Now, yesterday we actually did an interview, folks, yesterday, and it the Gremlins 8 show. I don't know what happened. I was curious, with it being Chicago, about police presence, and you told me who was handling the security, and that sounded really interesting. Tell us about that.
So last year, I really thought that Popo was going to be involved, right? Because I had talked to Popo, and we had arranged it. They was going to do security. But then when the event came, in that process, they had changed arms. Like, no, the sergeant wasn't the sergeant anymore, something like that. So I really didn't have the presence of the police to do security. But I got wind, there was an event called the Homesteaders Fair that takes place in Woodlawn, and it teaches people about the land, owning the land. It takes place on 61st and Woodlawn. Wow. And the Nation of Islam was their security. And I was like, oh my God, I want that. I want that. So the Nation of Islam was the security for our book fair, and it was the bomb because Black folks respect the nation, you know, so they didn't have to have guns, and we ain't had no beef. So yeah, the Nation of Islam
wearing them suits.
What? They was wearing them suits, baby. I said, y'all can sell a Final Call all you want to. I don't care. It's a literary event, baby. So yeah, that was really fly. And yeah, so the Nation of Islam does our security, and it you know, a brother told me he felt safer with the nation being a security for the event. Okay. Everybody felt safe because they don't have no guns and it's no beef. So it was really good.
And they speak respectfully to people.
Yes, they value people.
Nice.
Sure. So that was the bomb. So that's what we have doing security this year too.
Nice. And one more, I keep saying one more thing. You know,
that's a million more things.
This is Woodlawn. This is the hood. Okay, it's my old neighborhood. And you know, somebody's gonna say, ooh, what's going on over there? And they're gonna grab their little red wagon, fill it with ice, and bring out some little bottled water to sell. Will that be totally off base? I know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen.
Well, honey, I don't care. That man could bring that. He could bring out all that. I don't care what he's talking about. He could bring out his wagon with his water and sell his water because it'll be thousands of people. If we had 3,000 people last year, it's going to be like 5,000 to 7,000 people or more this year. So he can go ahead and sell that doggone water to all them people. It's going to be hot. Good. Yep, we need you. Get your butt right out here with them wagons, and I might go and do it myself. You give me an idea, but no. So yeah, so that's fine. This is a community event. And all I ask, you know, when we do this type of thing is that we just have respect for it. I'm not going to stop that brother from selling the water. But like last year, I did have a sister set up on the lawn somewhere right next to us, putting out her Avon and clothes and stuff. And I'm like, mommy, you can't do that, mommy. And so she like,
thank you.
Yo, she like, no, this is public. I know, no, boo, you're not on my insurance policy. No, you're not. So, so that's not how that's going to go. I only have literary authors, you know, literary event, organizations or authors. So it's all good. I don't mind the waterman, but I ain't going to have the Avon lady busting out with a table, her clothes and stuff. I ain't going to go down like that.
Exactly. Well, you have sufficiently made me homesick. And if I were rich, I would definitely fly in like some of those authors flying from Atlanta and whatnot.
But move back.
I can't move back, but I'll tell you one thing. I will be in better shape next year, and I'll bet you I'll fly in next year.
I bet you will. It'll be that third Sunday of July.
I will be there. I'll do my very best to be there. Let's put it there.
You'll be there.
So let's promote this thing to death, to the hill.
Yep.
It's going to be Sunday. Next Sunday, July, 16th?
Not next Sunday, this Sunday, July 16th.
I mean, this coming.
Yes.
Sunday. 10 in the morning?
10 in the morning to 8 at night. It's a full day. Bring your beach chairs for the concert at night. All of the performances are free. And the books are awesome. We have one sister who has a book. She was in 21 different foster homes growing up. And she has a book called Legally Branded. She sells out at every single event that we have. She sells out. And we have another brother who has a book called Tate and His Historic Dream. It's a children's book. His name is Bernard Turner. And that's a book about a young brother who he ain't feel like doing his history homework. And then he went to sleep. But baby, Frederick Douglass came up in there. Phyllis Wheatley came up in there. And they had all kind of discussions. He was asking Phyllis, why you got to hide that you're reading? She was like, oh, no, I don't want to be lynched and blah, blah. So anyway, when he wakes up, he's had such a great experience with all of these sheroes and heroes that doing the paper is like a simple thing to him. And so that's a book that'll be out there. So there's a lot of great authors with a lot of great different books. Yep.
Yes. Now, for those who will be driving in from Beverly and Chatham and whatnot, are you going to have plenty of parking?
Yep. The aldermen and all of them have been very cooperative. And so we'll have lots that people can park on. There's also be parking inside the streets and all of the above. So we didn't have any parking issues at all last year. So we won't have anything.
Or you just take number 3, the number 4 bus, same difference.
Yep. Oh, look at you. Come on, girl. You know that's Chicago. So they'll take that number 3 King Drive bus or take that number 4 Cottage Grove bus. Come on, you can take the 63rd Street bus on down and get off at any of those avenues. But it's been between Cottage and King, definitely.
It's going to be a beautiful event. And Asadah, thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed meeting you and enjoyed talking about this.
Thank you so much for that.
This is going to get humongous. This is going to be as big as Taste of Chicago or the old Chicago Fest, I think.
I agree. I totally agree.
We weren't in Chicago yet for Chicago Fest. Chicago Fest was like the bomb. I mean, it was in Navy Pier. It took over the whole Navy Pier.
Wow.
And I can imagine the Soulful Chicago Book Fair is going to be humongous.
Yeah, because it's huge even in its second year. Like, even in its first year, everybody was kind of floored at the size and the magnitude. But that's my point. I think us thinking small is like it's fear-based because we're fearful of creating what we really want, thinking that we won't be able to do it. But just look at what you want, not what you don't want, and do that. That's what I always tell people. Look at what you want. Why? I think we vividly imagine what we don't want more than we look at what we want, and that's why we get that.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, definitely, because that's how we were raised. We were raised like that. Money don't go on trees. You can't get everything you want. So we're kind of prepped for not getting what we want growing up. And so we vividly imagine what it will be like if our lights went out, or what it would be like if we can't pay the rent. Or, we look at that a lot as opposed to looking at making volumes of money to take care of all of our responsibilities and then some. We won't look at that and look at what that will create. And so we just settle for the thing that gives us what we have. So my thing is to increase our havingness and increase our ability level to create what we want. I
like that a lot. Oh, one more thing. I keep saying one more. Okay, this is the last thing for real. For real. Sponsors. I know you want to throw out some shout outs to your sponsors, and I would love for you to do that.
While this is a grassroots movement and the community pays for this event primarily, we do have some community organizations that say, hey, this is worth it. This is worth having in our community. And so the Alderman's office, they've handled all of our barricades and the costs for things like that, streets and sanitation, all that kind of stuff. They handle that. We have Cricket Media. They are a sponsor. We have the Office of Civic Engagement of the University of Chicago. They're a sponsor. We have Adept Content Solutions. They help with all of your self-publishing needs. They're a sponsor. We also have just Brown Sugar Bakery. Brown Sugar Bakery, it's a wonderful bakery on 75th Street. The sister, her slices of cake are they might be a foot long, a foot high slices of cake. No, seriously, they're amazing. It's 6 inches high, a piece of cake, so it's half a foot. I'll say half a foot. I'll give her half a foot. But she's one of the sponsors. She makes amazing cake. She just opened a spot in Navy Pier as well as 75th Street. So she's
oh, really?
Oh, yeah. She has a Navy Pier spot and a 75th Street spot. And Jazz in the Alley, they're a sponsor as well of our event. So we love that. And POA, I can't forget POA. That's the Preservation of Affordable Housing. They are a sponsor. I think they're our largest sponsor. And Renew Woodlawn. Renew Woodlawn is an organization that's helping folks buy homes. Hello, come home. It's helping folks buy homes in the Woodlawn area. So, it's been really great. We have those different organizations, excuse me, contribute to the event. And it's been really helpful to have them do so. Believe me.
That's wonderful. And I have to throw a huge shout out to Woodlawn because that's where I got my start. I mean, not just that I was born there, but I mean, as far as media. I'm doing Durham Skywriter right now. I was wearing a Southside Scoop T-shirt yesterday. Today I'm wearing Durham Skywriter, which is in a way a reincarnation of the Southside Scoop. It started as the Woodlawn Scoop in Woodlawn. Okay. Then it became the Woodlawn Inglewood Scoop, and then it became the Southside Scoop. So shout outs to my neighbors on the South Side.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll be posting pictures today, but we did a bunch of canvassing today. We have yard signs for the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. We have posters for the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. We have postcards for the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. So we just went and laid them out in all of the different.
I see T-shirts behind you, and I wear XL. Just saying. I will support you. I will purchase one. Just save me one.
Thank you. Cool. Those are the Soulful. I hope I have your size, girl. I'll double check for you. But yep, those are the Soulful Chicago Book Fair T-shirts. Our volunteers will be wearing those, and when people see those purple shirts walking around, we'll have people out there taking pictures for social media. We'll have people just getting donations from folks to help, pay for the cost and all kind of stuff. But people have a wonderful time. And I think what floors people the most is that they see books that they've never seen before. Nice. And that's just amazing. This is one sister who has a book called The Secrets to How Not to Throw Mama from the Train. And so it's a book about helping relationships between moms and daughters, adult moms and daughters who have beef. Remember that movie Throw Mama from the Train, where she said we're going to do a book on how not to do that. Yeah, so it's a lot of very unique literature out there.
Well, thank you, Asadah, for being on the show. This is really wonderful. I cannot wait. In fact, on Sunday, I'm going to check Periscope and Facebook Live every now and then.
Cool.
Because I have a feeling somebody's going to be live streaming.
They will be. It's already been discussed. So be checking it out. We'll have that stuff rocking and rolling that day. And man, it's just going to be great. I'll be glad when it's done so I can relax. But it's been a ball just building it up big time.
Thank you so much, Asadah, again for being on the show. So folks, check out soulfulchicagobookfair.com for more information. And obviously, you don't have to be in or from Chicago to help with donations. Help us out.
Please. I was so happy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Okay, folks. So that was this edition of TV Skywriter. Wonderful show. Shout out to Asadah Kirkland. That was really, really great. If you want to be on the show, all you have to do is contact me via Twitter. The quickest way is at Durham Skywriter. And of course, be sure to read Durham, North Carolina's online community paper. It's all positive and it's online, and it's durhamskywriter.com. With that, have a beautiful day, and I will see you real soon. Ciao for now.